The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 29, Royal Vault. Lorik wakes up in an unfamiliar room. He's lying in a bed with a white bedsheet and blanket over him. There's a curtain divider blocking both sides of him. The curtains are 2 feet away from the bed on each side. There's a small table on each side of the bed. The floor is made of wood, and the walls are painted white. There's a window letting in sunlight on the ceiling. As soon as he's awake, he jumps out of the bed, sending the blanket to the floor. The commotion gets the attention of a man sitting at a desk. His desk is near the door leading outside. There's a line of tables behind him and bookshelves against the wall. Opposite the tables and bookshelves are a row of 7 beds. Lorik was lying in the 3rd bed. The man walks over to Lorik to see what the noise is. He stands at 5 feet 7 inches and has light green hair. His eyes are a matching green and he looks to be in his 40s. "Are you feeling all right?" the man asks. "Yeah, sorry about that. Where am I?" Lorik asks while picking up the blanket. "You're in the medical ward of the academy. You passed out after during a duel. I'm not sure of the details as I wasn't there, but I was told that you used your soul ability too much. Is that true?" The man asks. "Yeah, it puts a strain on my soul," Lorik explains. "I'm not well versed on the soul, but do you have any other pains? I treated the wounds you had before." He asks. "No, everything's fine," Lorik says, causing the man to smile. "Good, then you're free to leave. Your teammates said to contact them once you woke up," the man says before walking back to the desk. There's a small mountain of paperwork on the desk, waiting for him. Lorik walks out of the door before activating his communications bracelet. He immediately sees a message from Cyrilda. She says to tell her as soon as he's awake. He sends her a message simply saying he's up. There's an almost immediate response telling him to stop moving. He stops in the middle of the path, more out of confusion. A few seconds later, the space next to him distorts. Cyrilda appears from thin air before grabbing his arm. "You woke up at the perfect time," she says as a dark purple magic circle appears under the 2 of them. They disappear from the academy grounds before repeating back to the castle. Lorik finds himself back in the familiar room. Rowan, Sarah, and Vera are sitting at the table. The king is there as well, drinking from a cup of tea. "How are you feeling?" Vera asks as soon as the 2 appear. "Fine, it never leaves any lingering effects," Lorik replies before taking a seat. "It never? Does that mean you've passed out before?" Rowan asks. "Yeah, why else do you think I know 10 minutes is my limit? It's always been at home, though, so don't worry. Today was the first time I passed out around other people." "Speaking of, how long was I out for?" Lorik asks. "It's been about 5 hours, Sarah replies. "So is something going on?" he asks after a moment of silence. "There are 2 things we need to tell you. First is something we've told Sarah, Rowan, and Vera." King Eldrin starts. "We have reason to believe that one of the students at the academy is acting as a spy for the kingdom of Calvaris." "What makes you think that?" Lorik asks. "It's because of the recent assassination attempt on Sarah. We've taken precautions to prevent people from learning of her whereabouts. The academy is also well guarded, so it's impossible for a mage to have broken in and found out what tasks she took. It's also inconceivable that a mage managed to follow her out of the capital or was able to remain undetected in the forest. Not to mention that even if they waited in the forest, there was no guarantee that they'd encounter her. As such, we believe a student kept an eye on her before reporting that she had left." Cyrilda explains. "Are you certain it's not a professor?" Lorik asks, causing the king to smile. "We only hire those we trust absolutely to work as professors. It's no understatement to say that the academy nurtures the future rulers of the kingdom and the guilds. As such, all professors are investigated thoroughly. We're certain they wouldn't have betrayed the kingdom." The king explains. "So what's your plan for catching the spy?" Lorik asks, causing Cyrilda to chuckle. "That's your guys' job now," she says while motioning to the 4 of Team 1. Lorik just stares at her, dumbfounded, causing her to laugh. "That's how we felt too," Rowan tells him. "How do you expect us to catch them?" Lorik asks. "By luring them out or asking around. I imagine that they were hired by someone from Calvaris. As such, we don't think they'd be trained. They're likely just a student messaging someone about Sarah's movements. That's not to say we won't investigate as well. But there's a limit to what we can do unless we make it public. Cyrilda says before the king interrupts, which we can't. Announcing that there was an assassination attempt this close to the Founders Festival wouldn't be wise. It would cause panic from people worried about the war. The nobles who want this war to continue could use it to incite the public to lead an attack on Calvaris. He says, wait, there are nobles who want this war to continue? Lorik asks, surprised. Yeah, they're interested in obtaining land from Calvaris. That or they're involved in various businesses which could thrive off the war, such as alchemy workshops that would sell potions to treat wounded soldiers, or blacksmith workshops to sell weapons and armor. The lists can go on, but the gist is they all want to make money off the war. Cyrilda explains. So what's the second thing you wanted to talk about? Lorik asks with a sigh, causing Rowan to laugh. The other is your reward, King Eldrin says. My reward? For what? Lorik asks, causing Sarah to sigh. Saving my life? She says, causing Lorik to look down in thought. I did do that. He quietly says to himself, causing Cyrilda to burst out in laughter. And for saving the princess's life, you get a deserving reward. The king says. What is it? Lorik asks, his curiosity getting the better of him. That's for you to decide. The kingdom has a vault full of various treasures and items. We're letting you pick one from inside. My son will guide the way, as I'm almost out of time. I have a meeting to attend to in a bit that I can't squeeze out of. The king says, before there's a knock at the door. A young man with hair a mix of brown and gold walks in. His left eye is gray, while his right is gold. He's wearing a white suit and stands 6 feet 2 inches tall. Father, it's time for your meeting, the man says as he enters. Thank you, Lucian. Lorik, this is my son I mentioned. He'll take it from here. The king says before standing up and leaving the room. If you'll come with me, I'll lead the way to the vault. Lucian says as Lorik and the others stand up. Are you all coming? He asks. Yep, Cyrilda replies with a smile. Lucian sighs before leading the way. They leave the room and walk through the castle halls. After going down 2 flights of stairs, they enter a passage made of stone. At the end of the passage is a vault door. There are 4 knights next to the door guarding it. They all stand straight as the group approaches. One of the knights opens the vault before the group enters. Inside are a number of weapons and armor on display. There are chests full of jewels and accessories. Books and scrolls line the walls on shelves and in displays. Once everyone is in, the knight closes the door behind them. He had been told to do so by Cyrilda as they came in. There are a lot of weapons and armor in here, Vera says while looking around. Most were made by master craftsmen. There are a few soul-bound items if you're interested. Lucian says while looking at Lorik. Lorik just looks around before stopping. There's a pot sitting on a pedestal. The pot is a plain garden pot. Inside the pot is grass, and on top of the grass is a metal box. The box is about 1 foot in length and half as wide. On the long side are 6 small locks in 2 rows of 3. Aside from the locks, there isn't a single seam anywhere on the box. What is this? Lorik asks while walking over to the box. That's, to be honest, we don't, Lucian says before stopping when Lorik picks it up. He looks at Lorik in confusion as he examines the box in his hands. Even Cyrilda looks confused when he picks it up. What is it? Lorik asks after he finished looking over the box. Can I see it? Lucian asks while quickly walking over to Lorik's side. Confused, Lorik hands the box to Lucian. Lucian's fingers go through the box as it falls to the ground. He then reaches down and tries to pick it up, but his hand goes straight through it. It's still untouchable, he mutters. That box is called the untouchable box. We have no idea what it is or what's inside. It's been here for almost 70 years now. No one has ever been able to touch the box, which is why it was on the pot. The only way to move it was to move the ground it was on. Cyrilda explains as Lorik picks the box back up. Really? But it feels fine to me, Lorik says while tapping the box with his free hand. Vera and the others walk over as he does. Vera tries to grab it and her hand passes through. She then tries touching it with her head. She passes through and looks inside the box, but all she can see is a black void. People have tried that before, but we can't see anything from the inside. Cyrilda says. Could it be an inheritance? Sarah says, thinking aloud. What do you mean? Lucian asks. It's possible that, like ancient inheritances, only someone with a soul similar to its owner can touch the box, Sarah says, causing Lucien to think about it. Can you pour some soul power into the box? Cyrilda asks Lorik. Sure, Lorik replies before placing a finger on the top of the box. He pours a small amount of soul power into it, but it bounces off. What about? Lorik mutters before grabbing one of the small locks. He pours a small amount of soul power into it. The lock takes the soul power, but starts pulling more in. Before he can react, his soul power starts getting sucked out. A faint blue light appears on the skin of his hand as it gets pulled out. Stop, Lorik! Cyrilda shouts while grabbing his hand. She tries to tear it off but can't. It feels like his hand is fused with the lock. She lets go and creates two magic circles. One appears under Lorik while the other appears under the box. Both circles shatter as an invisible force emerges from the box. At this point, almost half of Lorik's soul power has been drained. Lorik activates his soul ability and jumps 2 levels. This doesn't help him get any more soul power, but it increases its strength, making it more dense and filling. The box keeps draining his soul power as the others try to pull him away, but they don't have much luck as they can't touch the box. Just before Lorik runs out of soul power, the box lights up with a bright white light.